of young plasma constituents into older individuals. And the reason we're so excited about this is that when young blood is circulated into old animals, there is a systemic rejuvenation effect. I've cited 3 references there. There are actually dozens of references that conclusively show that young blood rejuvenates old animals. And what we're going to do is show another news clip, October 27th, 2016. This is how new this technology is. We're going to show this news clip right now, and you can see what scientists are doing as far as using young plasma to make old people young.
Right now, a lot of Bay Area geniuses are focused on solving one of the greatest mysteries of life: aging. One company is hot on the trail of an answer. Only on 5 tonight, Juliette Goodrich reports scientists may have found a real fountain of youth, one that can repair aging brains in plasma from young blood.
At Blood Centers of the Pacific, 22-year-old Matthew Ryan is donating plasma, a critical component of blood.
I've always liked to help people.
The pale yellow fluid can help save the lives of patients suffering from burns, shock, or trauma. For one thing, plasma
contains all of the antibodies that you have to fight infections.
But now scientists believe this fluid may contain something far more spectacular.
Think fountain of youth, but with a twist. What's flowing through the veins of young people may help restore old aging brains.
Neuroscientist Carolee Nikolic.
The very first reaction, I think in all of us, was skepticism.
Nikolic heads up Alkahest, a biotech company in San Carlos. He says plasma contains thousands of proteins that do different jobs. But when his colleagues analyzed plasma samples donated by the young and old alike, they were astonished.
We have actually now for the first time discovered that there are hundreds of proteins that change with aging.
Young plasma is awash in special proteins that rejuvenate tissues. But as we age, they're replaced by damaging inflammatory ones. So the scientists did a simple experiment with some very old mice. We've sped up the video for time. In a special maze that measures learning and memory, old mice have a tough time remembering how to get out. They're stuck exploring dead ends and making lots of navigational errors. But when injected with young human plasma, these old mice head directly to the exit without making a mistake. Not only that, their brains have changed.
It's pretty dramatic.
Those green dots? Newborn neurons, freshly sprouted in a part of the brain critical for memory and learning.
We do our treatment, we see a doubling of that.
At Stanford University, Alkahest has now launched the first controlled clinical study of young plasma in humans. It involves 18 people with mild or moderate Alzheimer's disease.
The final results will come at the end of the year.
If the trial proves safe, then a second study with more patients and a bigger dose. If the treatment eventually proves successful, the hope, by growing healthy new neurons, the brain may clear itself.
We are reducing this inflammatory process in the brain.
As for Matthew, he knows people with Alzheimer's and wants to help.
I think it'll be pretty incredible to say that my plasma could, or anyone else's plasma for that matter, can help them to make somewhat of a recovery.
In San Carlos, Juliette Goodrich, KPIX 5.
The number of people living with Alzheimer's disease is growing fast. If this treatment works, scientists plan on identifying and then manufacturing the critical proteins that offer the greatest benefit.
In the January 2015 issue of Nature, very prestigious medical journal, scientific journal, there was a review of all the previous animal studies on young plasma exchange. That's known as parabiosis, by the way, for the most part. And the consistent finding is that when young blood is exchanged with old animals' blood, those old animals grow biologically younger. And it's a systemic effect. It rejuvenates their heart, their muscle, and their brain. In fact, the brain seems to be the part of the body that benefits the most. Young blood rejuvenates old animals. We want to see that happen in human beings. Young blood also extends lifespan. It enables old animals to live longer when they have young blood put into their bodies. Parabiosis is the medical term, by the way, for what they're doing with the animals, where they're exchanging young blood with old blood in the animal model. And the good news is, the leading institutions in the world, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, they're pursuing parabiosis research. They're looking for ways, just like you saw in that newscast, which was only aired a couple months ago, to enable older people to grow biologically younger. The technology is there. Johnson & Johnson has put $50 million into a research study at Stanford to see if young blood cannot be made into an effective treatment for Alzheimer's disease. And based on the preliminary data that we're seeing, it may very well work. This is something that just is so outrageously exciting. But the idea that this study just came out in November, by the way, where they took blood and plasma from 18-year-olds, and they injected it into mice over just a brief period of time, and they got these kind of results. These kind of results, the one that entices me the most is that the old animals acted young. Because, as you know, old people, they don't behave young at all. They move very slowly. But the young animals were scampering around their cage as if they were much younger. So we're very impressed with this technology, and a significant portion of the money we're seeking to raise is going to go into this type of research, because if it works, we're going to make some major, major breakthroughs. So we know conclusively today that young blood rejuvenates old animals. We need to translate that now into the human clinical setting.